morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video. And the pre-patch event for the next expansion, Midnight, has finally begun. And in today's video, I wanted to relay an update overviewing some minor class tweaks, some housing changes, as well as some of the new awesome rewards that are coming with this pre-patch event that are likely time sensitive, which means you've got to get them before they are gone. And typically pre-patch events do have some pretty remarkable rewards that you're going to want to hold on to for multiple expansions, increasing the value of your account. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So this pre-patch event for Midnight is going to be in the Twilight Highlands, and there are a bunch of vendors currently located right here towards the south end of the zone. Obviously, you're going to have to go throughout the entire event, collect currency in order to purchase from these vendors, but this is where they are currently located. They're going to be selling different types of armor, full arsenal sets. They will be selling limited edition housing decor. It looks like it's mostly Blood Elf themed, and they will be selling pets as well. So we get a quick little snapshot of everything that is coming. The Sky Razor mount, so if you didn't want to farm all that reputation at the beginning of the War Within to get this, and if you weren't good enough to get the Mythic Raid version of this, you can now get a blue version of it that will likely be much easier to get and attain than the previous ones. We've also got the Light Forged Mech Suit, so if you're unable to get this mount, which I think was tied to Delves, possibly Mythic Plus, you can get a recolor of it now from this pre-patch event and feel just as dope and just as fire as all of those other players were able to. So definitely some coveted rewards here, and again, time sensitive, likely going to be retired. Looks like we got some recolored pets as well from the Undermine zone here with the Goblin Hyena with the blue goggles. He's a little cutie. We got the Emerald Spore Bit. I don't know where this thing came from, but if you want that as a pet, it is available to you, as well as the Radar, which is kind of like a mini demon observer void oriented pet. He is looking pretty cool and awesome. And then the Blood Elf housing decor as well. It looks like chairs, candles, and a bench. The full set, honestly, kind of throwback to the Twilight Council from Vanilla WoW in the I always say it wrong, the zone that it's I don't even want to try and pronounce it. It's going to be terrible, but it looks like they've up-resed the Twilight Cultist attire. So if you want like a modern version of it from Vanilla WoW, you're going to be able to get that now, which looks really cool. We got a bunch of different weaponry as well. These look really cool, just kind of void influence, a little bit of Deathwing oriented on them as well, with daggers, axes, bows, daggers, guns, hammers, just everything across the board. This almost looks like a Doom hammer, honestly, right here, the Twilight Cultist hammer. I think I'm going to pick that up, as well as the Great Axe for sure. The Great Axe looks like a corrupted version of Gromash's axe there. So the two-handed weapons, even this is kind of like Sylvanas' bow, kind of like Silithus. If Sylvanas was captured by the bugs or something and converted her, she would have wielded this gun. So some interesting armor sets here, weapon sets here, and pets, and obviously full armor sets as well available for this. So a lot to farm, a lot to get that is likely going to be retiring permanently in the near future. So if there is anything on this that you want to get, it's the whole point of this video, is to make this, relay that information to you, let you know, and be able to make that decision yourself. Now, when it comes to overall like class updates, it's still a little bit uncertain to me as to whether these changes are only applied to the pre-patch balance or if they're applied to pre-patch as well as max level beta gameplay. But they've basically done some tuning on a couple of healers here, with Restoration Druid, Grove Guardians no longer costing mana when they are summoned, and this is why I feel like this is something that likely will be applied. I will have to make a Druid and experiment on this, and obviously I'm streaming every day, so you'll be able to see, if that change came through. But a little bit more mana efficacy for Resto Druid with this change. Mistweaver got a pretty significant buff, and I thought Mistweaver was already doing pretty well, but Thunder Focus T's cooldown is going down from 45 to 30, so that has some very big implications and huge bonuses to the class, and their Mana Tea effectiveness is being increased by 20%, so keep your eyes on Mistweaver. This might be your season finally. For enhancement, they fixed an issue where Maelstrom Weapon to require level 12 has been resolved. I have no idea what that was, but obviously this patch released a plethora of bugs that just absolutely broke the game. The bug I'm hoping that they're going to jump on board and fix is one where you jump, and if you get stunned, you disconnect. That's like that is the most frustrating one of all the bugs that I've seen so far. And Resto Shaman got some AoE healing buffs. We see Chain Heal receiving a 25% increase and Healing Rain receiving an 82% increase. Now, from some PvE creators, they were making it seem like nobody basically uses Healing Rain, so they're hoping this is enough that people will use it. And maybe this means a totemic build of Restoration Shaman might see some some uprising in the near future. So some minor tweaks here to healers. It's interesting that if this is only for pre-patch, that they're really even spending time worried about it, because I feel like they've lowered the difficulty of the content, at least in PvE, so much so that it's like, does it really matter that much? I mean, there's no competitive season, but if these apply obviously to max level as well, then these are going to have some big impacts on overall healer balance, which honestly is getting into a lot better of a position. I think healer and tank, those are the two roles that they've got to really dial in on to make sure that people want to play them. Otherwise, LFG group finder times are going to go up, Q times are going to go up, and those are the two roles that they've really got to focus on. Now, housing endeavors. This has been like one of the most problematic thing that I've seen so far on social media, so I'm curious to see what they are doing for it. Here we see Kyvax. Hello neighbors, it's been a week since Endeavors went live, and we've been reading your feedback and working through some improvements that we're bringing to Endeavors in the next few days. Earning more house XP. The most prominent feedback has been that house XP being capped per Endeavor. This cap exists so that collecting new decor for XP remains valuable, but we agree that a cap of 1,000 XP is too limiting when compared with the XP needed to level your house. We are increasing the per Endeavor house XP cap from 1,000 to 2,250, with the 250 XP from completing the Endeavor. This brings the total possible house XP from an Endeavor to 2,500 XP. With 40 days total for this first Endeavor, and then a roughly monthly duration once Midnight launches, this change means you will gain about 1 to 2 house levels just from monthly Endeavors alone. This change will not grant retroactive house XP, but it will increase the cap for the current Endeavor, so everyone can earn an additional 1,250 XP. So they've set this up basically like similarly to like the Firelands progression that I remember, where you had to like work as a group and level up the tree, and and you got access to more quests and more areas of the zone in the Firelands. They're doing that very similarly for player housing, although I've seen some players that probably just want to speed run all the way to the end and just have everything and make the main thing for housing for them is the creative expression, right? So the XP and gatekeeping and limiting everything that they can get access to is just preventing their creativity, and I actually wonder how many people are playing player housing because they like this grind, versus how many people just want to play creatively. If you've been diving deep into the player housing, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts on it. Would you rather just be uncapped and do whatever you want, or do you think this is important in order to basically keep life in the neighborhoods? Because maybe if they don't, things are going to start to dry up in the player housing, right? I think this is their goal of trying to make the zone more relevant so it doesn't just completely empty and decay like the garrisons did. Diminishing returns. The next most common point of feedback is about diminishing returns on task rewards. These exist to encourage you to explore other tasks and not to do a single task over and over again. However, we recognize that not all tasks are for all players, and different players have preferences which could lead them into doing a small set of tasks repeatedly. We're increasing the floor of diminishing returns from 20 to 50%, as well as slowing its descent. This change will affect both the rewards, housing XP, and community coupons, as well as the Endeavor XP. This means if you'd previously gone from earning 10 to earning 2 coupons after multiple competitions, you'll now earn a minimum of 5 coupons after this change. If you're currently earning the minimum coupon amount due to repeated completions, when the update goes live, you may need to log out and log back in to show the new value. We're also introducing a weekly reset for the diminishing returns on repeatable Endeavor tasks. Given the timing of this update, this means the first week will be the week of February 3rd. So if you really just wanted to zone in on just one thing, you're not going to be punished as hard, but you still will be punished. 2 other changes. Endeavor difficulty scales with your neighborhood's activity level. However, given the lack of information for this month, the system hasn't been yet collaborated to your neighborhood activity level. Therefore, for this Endeavor only, we are reducing the amount of XP needed to complete the first Endeavor from 1,000 to 400. This should make things feel much better for smaller, less active neighborhoods. Additionally, we are improving the rewards for generic tasks from 10 to 50. Generic tasks are those that provide some XP but are not themed to the current Endeavor, and this change applies only to them as a way of making them feel more rewarding. Seems like they're kind of just like forcing this content to be participated in a little bit in order to get new stuff for your house. A few notes. The Endeavor uses UI doesn't mean the XP cap or diminishing returns, but if you see house XP as a reward, you haven't yet hit the cap. UI improvements are coming. If you are at the house XP cap, you'll still contribute to the Endeavor's progress. Very engaged players can carry a neighborhood to completion, even more so with the changes above, but don't forget there's a 20% bonus to rewards if you're playing in a group with 2 of your neighbors. Enjoy grouping up when you are endeavoring. So they're trying to encourage the social aspect of it, the community building element of it, and I think that right now there's probably a split in the community between the people who like that, because it's not, retail, it struggles to hold that community feel, right? And this is literally doing that directly with your neighborhood, and there's other players who would probably rather just isolate and have access to everything and build out their house exactly the way that they want to, and this is just limiting and feels like a chore for them to do. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for this update, and as always, if there are more updates into the future regarding especially class changes, because I know you really want to be on top of that right now with how close we are getting out to the next expansion. I'm always going to be pumping those out basically as soon as they're available. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.